Cool.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pivot Capital's Founders Series. I'm here with Adapt Brand's own Richard Harrington. We like to call him Richie. Thank you, Richie, for joining us. Just super excited to have you on board. Know you were doing outstanding and great things in the marketplace. Just like to maybe start off with a brief history on yourself and how you got the idea or to found Adapt Brands and what you were looking to satisfy a niche in the market, and what kind of led you to that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I appreciate you guys having me on for this. So my career into this whole entrepreneurial journey started from birth. I was born into an entrepreneurial family. My dad owned and operated a company called Maui and Sons since 1983, and our family still is a stakeholder in the business. So I've been around that entrepreneurial spirit really my whole life. And when I went to college to play football. I went to Oregon State. I played quarterback there. And that really, was an amazing experience for me because it taught me a lot of discipline and taught me a lot of things that I now carry over into my business life. But while I was there, I had actually had a string of injuries really that ended my athletic career, a few shoulder surgeries. And while going through that recovery process, I was force-fed basically opioids and was told these are going to make you feel better.
Wow.
They did not make me feel better. It actually made me feel worse. And so when I went through my second shoulder surgery, I opted to not take any opioids at all. And being in Oregon at the time where cannabis had become legalized and hemp was coming to the forefront of an alternative type of medicine that wasn't going to get an athlete in trouble, with the NCAA or for drug testing, I started using hemp and CBD oils and creams and tinctures to really help my recovery process naturally. So when I wanted to, eventually find the product or, start my own business, I always came back to what is a product that athletes are looking for? What's a problem that I can help solve within that space? And the opioid epidemic has just been huge within sports. I've had a few friends, unfortunately, that have passed away from opioid overdoses. Most notably, a lot of people know of Tyler Skaggs, who was a Los Angeles Angels pitcher. And that, just seeing that there was a big problem, I wanted to figure out a way to how to solve that. And through my own life journey of using hemp and CBD products, and then also at the time using superfoods, I really found this amazing marriage between the two and wanted to create a product that athletes can use that was also safe. So that started our journey into creating Adapt and what is now, our main hero product, Adapt SuperWater, which is the first NSF certified for sport hemp beverage to hit the market.
Outstanding. I mean, that's just a hell of a story.
Yeah.
So just in terms of understanding the chemistry of it, I mean, there must have been a process that you went through to be able to understand, how to get this product. Is there other competitors? And then also the name Adapt. And I see it's kind of like a leaf in terms of your brand. So maybe get a little more exposure to that.
Yeah, well, to just talk about the name, first of all, Adapt comes from, I think, a lot of life experiences having to adapt to different situations, adapt to an injury, adapt to different challenges, deaths. Just having to adapt has always been something that was prevalent in my life. So when I was looking and kind of coming up with our company name, that just kept coming back. And then also, we take the position that hemp and cannabis are two of the original superfoods. And as superfoods, these are also adaptogenic superfoods. And so that was part of the name too, Adapt, adaptogenic, adaptogens. We wanted to really, encompass everything that had to do with our superfoods and the product that we have into a brand name. And you're spot on by saying it's a, point here now, spot on by saying it's a leaf and like a water drop, because we're showing that there's a connection between those superfoods and our, coconut water, which is the base of our product. And there's this amazing marriage between the two. So that's where you get the logo from. And in terms of like formulation and where, coming up with a product idea like this, I wanted to create almost an anti-Gatorade, anti-body armor type product where we use no preservatives, no concentrate, no added sugars, and make a really healthy, better for you hydration and recovery drink. So that's where the initial thought was to set out of, let's create a product that was great for athletes, and then where in this market is there a hole within the locker room. There's different recovery products that are available for athletes, but they're the normal ones you would think that are recovery or hydration products that aren't actually doing anything of that sort for you. So we felt there was a big hole in the market within the locker room for a recovery and hydration beverage. And so we go in there to compete against chocolate milk, protein shakes, cherry juice, and then again, the Gatorades and Body Armors of the world with a better for you, healthy, natural hydration and recovery beverage.
Wonderful. You know, you had mentioned that you come from a legacy of entrepreneurs, and having grown up in Hawaii myself, your father's company is very well known to me, Maui and Sons. It's everywhere. You grew up with entrepreneurs, but someone could ask, like, hey, you know, this guy, you know, he grew up in a brand company. You know, some of it is textiles and different sort of surfing and performance gear. What does he know about food and beverage, right? What does he know about the beverage industry? And then also, you know, why didn't he take over his father's company? Do you feel as though that you are challenged by the family legacy?
Yeah, well, sure. I mean, so just personally, like I've never been afraid of a challenge. And I think the two biggest industries, like most challenging industries, are apparel and CPG. Apparel is very much keeping up on trends and forecasting what the trends are going to look like, setting what the trends are going to look like. And, you know, being a family company, I knew that in some capacity that I would go work there. And I had an opportunity just in good timing after I was done with college to go and learn the business and work within the business. I had interned for my family's company in the London office during my college career, at the end of my college career. So got a taste of it into branding and marketing. That was really more so what I was interested in. And then when I had finally graduated, I went and worked for Maui and Sons, and I became over, I would say 6 to 9 months, I became our e-commerce and marketing director, and took the brand took the brand's online presence from literally zero to 100K a month towards the end of that first year that we were in. So I was really able to learn with a brand that had a lot of legacy to it. It had brand recognition already. Like when people see the cookie logo, they know exactly where it is. They can remember what shirt they were wearing, where they bought it. So I love hearing those stories, because even living in Hermosa Beach now, I see Maui and Sons shirts all over the place, shorts. It's amazing. It's very cool to see what that legacy was. And I think it taught me a lot in terms of working with a big time brand, also licensing, also production, what the logistics are. So it gave me my first taste of what the business world was. And the question of like, why didn't you want to take over the family business? I have a brother that works in the business as well. He actually still works there as the licensing director. My dad and I were very similar. He taught me a lot of what to do and how to do it, but also a lot of what not to do, because he was very antiquated in his approach to the business. He never used a computer in his life. He never used the internet in his life. He didn't have an iPhone or anything in his life. So it was a very, we would have, differences of opinions, let's say. And I think any family that works together is going to have kind of those struggles that they go through. And that, as a son, I think I'm right, but ultimately it's my dad's company and he's going to make the ultimate decision. So it wasn't anything that happened where I didn't want to work with the company anymore. I love the company. It built the lifestyle that, I grew up in, and it was it's still a part of my life, and it has always been a part of my life and always will be a part of my life. But I had an opportunity to get into starting my own company, and watching my dad do that and have his own career and build this amazing company is something that I wanted to emulate more so than continue to build Maui and Sons, underneath him, let's say.
No,
Yeah.
I definitely get it, and I can appreciate that. I mean, you're building on a legacy, but you're also kind of writing your own chapter. And that next generation is a kind of a good road to kind of continue to go down, in the sense of, you're in an industry, technically you're in two industries. You're in the
Yeah.
CBD, cannabis based industry, and you're in food and beverage. Both of these industries are notoriously competitive, and they have their own levels of restrictions in terms of obviously the CBD, but they're also what you consider, like, the new gold rush. We could, and so how do you manage from a logistics standpoint, where you have state by state and federal regulations around CBD, but then you also have, your logistics in terms of bottling, in terms of, supply. Currently, there's a lot of supply chain issues affecting a lot of people in the food and beverage industry, and being able to get the essential ingredient in your product. How are you able to overcome those things and continue to grow your business, and then have your future forward estimations that you're forecasting, let's say in the next 5 years or so?
Sure. I mean, I think first and foremost, it has to come down to having strong partnerships. I think that's something that I really took from my dad and his legacy of building amazing partnerships with manufacturers overseas. And, just having great suppliers that are reliable. I think, reliability is one of your best abilities you can have. And so I've been very fortunate to have a network that has good suppliers, has reliable suppliers, has amazing products as ingredients. So when we were creating Adapt SuperWater, naturally, when I wanted to do a hemp infused coconut water, I actually went to Maui and Sons, because they have another side of the business where they do Maui and Sons coconut water. They distribute it nationally and globally. And it's an amazing product that's just not very well known, because they don't market it at all. It's just a sales vehicle, or a cash flow business, really. So when I was looking to come up with a product, I approached Maui and Sons. I told my dad, hey, hey, you guys should do a hemp infused coconut water. And he's like, why don't you do a hemp infused coconut water? So that's really where it started. And I use Maui and Sons as our coconut water supplier. So I know it's reliable. It's good pricing as well. So that's a good partnership for us to have. They're a vertically integrated partner, obviously. And then in terms of, the CBD and the hemp side, we've also found an amazing partner with a company they're called Source. They're out of Washington. And, for us, like, I love the fact that we can put on our labels that our product's powered by Source, because they're one of the top companies for a hemp CBD emulsion and hemp ingredients in general. So fortunately, I've been able to build really good supplier relationships.
Man, excellent. Your level of logistics and operations, you really did learn a lot, and you're applying it and, putting it forward. So, my hat off to you on that, because that's what I consider to be at least 75-80% of anyone's business, being able to execute on operations. I was, wondering, and something that I like to lead off with, for a lot of future entrepreneurs and founders, in terms of what are the good, the bad, and the ugly of your journey, in terms of, establishing Adapt and moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been some bad times. I mean, first and foremost, when we launched Adapt SuperWater, it was January 2020. I'd raised a small friends and family round of funding. I put in like most of my basically all my savings into the business, and we launched January 2020. We were in 30 gyms and fitness studios, and March rolled around with COVID, and literally all of our retailers had shut down.
Wow.
So that was a really hard struggle for us. And, there wasn't, I had inventory I had to get rid of. So I was boots on the ground, selling to friends, selling to whoever I could, even during COVID, because you got to do what you got to do. And it takes what it takes. I think it
doesn't leave the shelf, it's not making any money.
Yeah, exactly. So
right.
That was, really the first big hit that we took. And I had to step back and look at the business, and, trying to raise capital during COVID. I think everyone thought it was going to last 2 weeks, and, here we are still on the tail end of it, I'll say. But I had to put the business on pause to give us a chance later down the line, which isn't easy. I'd poured 2 or 3 years into research and development through other products and another company, and building these business ideas. But having to put the business on pause was like one of the hardest things that I could do. But it was a blessing in disguise. I had gotten an opportunity to work with the formulation and consulting company that helped develop my beverage, to come in and learn as an apprentice the beverage industry from the inside out. So I started as a project manager. Within 2 months, I was promoted to facility manager of the distribution center. And 3 months after that, I was promoted to operations manager, where I had 30 employees under me. It was dealing with warehousing, logistics, trucking, inventory, operations, you name it. I have done it now within the beverage industry. And without COVID happening and without us launching and then taking the risk of stopping the business, I wouldn't have had those opportunities. So I worked at that company for a year and a half. In November of 21, I was ready to take the leap back to running Adapt full time. And, a big win that we had was that literally the day after I left that job, the world has a weird way of working, but that was the day I got the email from the NSF saying they would start certifying hemp products safe for sport, which obviously for us and for me, that's a big deal, being a former athlete, sitting in those compliance meetings where the compliance officers told us, do not use any products as an athlete if they're not the NSF certified for sport, if they don't have this logo on the bottle. So once that news broke, I called them maybe 10 minutes after I got the email and said, how do I get this started? So that was a big win for us. And then over the next, few months from November until we ran our production in March, and then, it took a month for the NSF to test our products and make sure the efficacy was there, the label claims were there, and everything lined up. And, April 6th, we were officially the first hemp beverage to be NSF certified for sport, which was a huge win. And that's really, you got to celebrate the wins as they come. I think that's what gets lost a lot of the times as an entrepreneur, because there are a lot of hard days. I'm still our chief everything officer. I'm the one that's doing the invoicing. I'm the one that's doing the graphics. I'm the one that's doing the packing and shipping. And it's not to sit here and complain about it. I love doing that stuff because it's my business. And because I want to make sure that everything that we put out is great as it can be. Because at the end of the day, it has my name on it. It has our company's name on it. And there's a level of excellence that I always want to make sure that we're operating at.
No, definitely. I think your story, man, is outstanding from a lot of standpoints of just having the idea from a personal experience of where, it came out of a personal injury and the time that it took for you to recover from it and not wanting to be exposed to, damaging chemicals, so to speak. But also more importantly, that I think a lot of people, they look and say, okay, well, this guy had, the road paid for him, streets of gold because of your father's legacy. And I think it's important that, you kind of brought out now, you just brought it out because it's your story, that you've had to, pave every brick yourself. You've had the ups and downs, you've had to, take a knee and get back up again. And I think that's a lot of entrepreneurship and a lot of success and learning by doing and getting out there and taking a job, working your way up, managing people, learning, in that way. So it seems to be a common thread for a lot of successful entrepreneurs. Also want to say that I've tried the product and it's a great product. And, thank you for sending over the samples. But, look for nothing but more amazing things for Adapt Brands, Richie, in the future. And, look forward to staying in contact and watching your growth. And want to say thank you again for joining our vlog series on entrepreneurs and founders, and always wishing you the best of luck, my friend.
Definitely. No, I appreciate you guys always being supportive. Check us out at adaptbrands.com.
Definitely. Have a great one.